It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in downtown Minneapolis. Taking a look at the outside of the U.S. Bank Stadium, which is normally home to giant music events as well as the NFL's Minnesota Vikings. But this weekend, it plays host to the world's biggest action sports event. This is X Games Minneapolis 2019. We're going to kick off some Sunday Fun Day out here, our fourth and final day of events here. And we started off with Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing making its return to the X Games. Hello everyone, I'm Jimmy Coleman, joined in the booth by Lance Corey today. We have Diana Dahlgren out there in the field, and well, Lance, this one is a wild one. We get these guys out here on these bikes. These guys are blue-collar riders. They get out here. This is their passion. A lot of these guys may not have sponsors. They don't get to do this all the time. It's all about fun, getting out here and going after some X Games gold here today. Definitely, and one of the cool features about today is we're going to see a lot of brothers out there racing each other, a lot of father and son, and a lot of different age groups out there. Speaking of that, Brad Spencer right there, 56 years young, won Harley-Davidson Hooligan qualifier both 2008 and 2019. He's got the skills to do it. He's been very, very dominant when it comes to those qualifier events. However, what's going to have to happen out here this morning, you've got to get through one of these 6 heats to start it off. We are going to have 8 riders per heat, and basically only the top 2 out of each heat are going to advance on into the semifinal. Once we get to the semifinals, only the top 3 advance out of each one of those heats. So once we get down to our final, it's going to be a 6-man race. Now this track out here today, it is 1/8 of a mile. Now the last 2 years we've done this here at the X Games, it's been the shortest track we've had in the history of Harley-Davidson racing here at the X Games. And as you mentioned, it is a family affair out here. We've got a lot of brother teams out here, a lot of father-son combos in the races out here. Round 1A, you've got Flaherty, Behrman, Alvis, Foley, Pollock, Barnett, Ginther, and Sanchez. That is your first 8, so just taking a hot lap right there, opening up the motors, and then we're going to get them racked here into the start gate, and then we'll get this thing underway, Lance. Now, as we get ready to start this off, let's talk about lane selection and how important that is out here today.
So you want to be the rider on the inside line. The inside line, you kind of control, you know, if you can get off to a good start, you can control who's the first one in the first corner. And then you obviously have the shortest line around the track if you're on the inside.
Okay, so we're being told that lap times are going to be about 7 to 10 seconds in length from what we saw in the seeding round. Now, getting out into that first turn right there when you're going to try to make some passes, how key is that going to be out here? Where do you make your move on this track, Lance, with it only being 1/8 of a mile?
It's going to be tough. I mean, we're going to have to kind of see how these guys start to play out in some of these first heats. But I think we're going to see a lot of passes coming into the corner. Because it's going to be the guy who holds on the gas coming into that corner the longest. It's always easy to hold on to the gas.
We are underway. J.J. Flaherty, number 45 out there on the inside line, takes it out to an early lead, but there was a little bit of contact. Getting things started right there. J.J.'s back tire got bumped right there, but he is out to an early lead here in our opening heat.
JJ's no stranger to winning races, and he's already pulling away a couple bike lengths, so pretty confident he'll be able to take this one.
J.J. Flaherty, your 2017 Harley-Davidson Hooligan race winner. And again, and he goes down, he washes out on the inside line and gets past.
I spoke too soon.
Randy just has to be stoked right now. He said he went out, had some fun with Tyler last night, the father of last night's gold medalist and best whip, Tyler Behrman. He'll be coming up here shortly, but Randy was feeling good, all smiles this morning, and he's ready to do this.
So one half of the Behrman family already getting part of the job done out here. We'll see Tyler a little bit later on, as Diana said, but right now it's number 5. Randy out to the lead here with 5 laps to go. But
this just has to be a bummer for JJ. You know, he is just dominates in this sport. I don't think in all the races I've ever watched him, he has actually gone down. So maybe he can make up some time here.
There's no last chance qualifier here, no LCQs. Basically, if you're not one of the top 2 out of your heat, that's it. You're done for the day, and you're watching from the sidelines. So with 3 laps to go, it's Randy Behrman still sitting in that top spot. However, he's got some people nipping on his heels there, Lance.
Let's keep in mind, these guys only got a couple minutes to practice this morning. The dirt's been changing all morning on them. They had tractors out there switching it up. So, you know, he did lay it down, but it's definitely tough to be in the lead. First race of the day, and let it go.
Randy actually qualified 12th in the seeding round. earlier today. That's Tony Alves on a Harley right there, number 16, who looks like he's going to get across that finish line in the number 2 position. So it's Randy Berryman and Tony Alves moving on here out of this opening round. But what a tough break right there for J.J. Flaherty, your 2017 Harley-Davidson Hooligan winner, slides out in one of the opening laps right there and ends up getting eliminated. Remember, only the top 2 out of each heat in this quarterfinal round move on into the semis.
I spoke too soon on that race.
Well, the good news is you got 5 more races to redeem yourself on that one.
Yeah.
Because we're just getting started out here. Taking a look at the start. Look at the contact. Oh, there was double contact right there. That was actually Randy Berryman that got tapped. He got a little love tap right there from the rider to his right, and then he bumped into JJ's back tire right there. I believe that was lap 3 or 4 where JJ slides out right there. Taking a look at the checker right there, it ends up being Randy Berryman across the finish line again, as Diana mentioned, his son taking a gold medal last night. Very emotional finish there in Moto X Best Whip. So congratulations to Tyler with that gold medal. Tony Alves moving on. Well, these races, they go fast. You don't have a lot of time to correct. So once you get out to that early lead there, Lance, what's the strategy? How do you work to protect that and stave off the rest of the pack?
You have to stay calm. You have to keep your heart rate down and kind of just imagine that you're out there practicing. They know how to do it. It's just, you know, you get the nerves up and you get excited that you're in the lead, and all of a sudden you start making mistakes. So
with a shorter track, you don't have a lot of time to correct and adjust, and definitely you have to pick your moment. We've seen some creative passing last year here with the 1/8 of a mile track here inside US Bank Stadium. We see a little bit of contact going into the corners as well. These guys are going to be rubbing elbows and trading paint as we run through these quarterfinal rounds out here. You've got King and Mishler, Shamley, Ludlow, Klee, Nobles, Lauder, and Ross here in heat number 2. Cole King qualified second. Daniel Mishler, your 2018 Harley-Davidson Hooligan winner. Cole King on that inside line, running plate number 55 on that front row.
Now, do you know if Barry Nobles is a BMX athlete? I see it says Haro.
It says Haro. You know what? That's a good question for Chase, our researcher over here to my left. He just rolled his eyes at me right there, Lance. It was like, oh, you're going to make me get on Google right now, aren't you? So here we go. 1 race is in the books. We got 5 more left to go as they are set to give these guys the green light again. And it's 10 laps here in the opening round, and we'll see who gets out to that early lead.
Little track problem out there. Starter put his arms up at an X and said, you ain't going.
And you don't have a lot of real estate to go there. Once you get right out of that start gate, you're coming hard into a turn right there. And then after that, with lap times averaging anywhere between 7 to 10 seconds. 7 to 10 seconds, there's not a lot of time to correct there. So you got to pick your moment, and here we go. Heat number 2 is underway.
Oh, Hunter Klee down right there in first turn. He's laying on the track still. We'll see if they red flag this.
So the yellow flag is out. We've got caution as we have a rider down.
Looks like they're splitting up. We'll see if they're going to red flag it. Another one
we
down.
have another rider down. So heat number 2, it's carnage right here.
And they're still racing. Oh, red flag's out. Red flag is out.
The red flag is out. We'll clean up the carnage and re-rack here and start it all over again. These guys were not messing around.
When you have carnage on over 50% of the track, I think it's time to shut it down.
Well, it's a little scary for some of the guys in race control right there. They're trying to push those guys to the outside line right there, and they were like, nope, I'm staying as close to this as I possibly can.
Yep.
Trying to stay tight in the corners there.
We'll see if either of these 2 guys can get up and race, continue racing.
Look at that. That was Hunter Klee that went down there on that first corner. Yeah, there was. Oh, he got dumped into Ludlow right there. He went off the bike, and Ludlow almost ran over him there.
There's a second crash.
And again, contact on that inside. He bumps the tire of 77, Daniel Mischler. Mischler, the back end swapped out a little bit. He was able to correct and keep on.
Guys, I'm down here on the sideline. King Cole, I mean, he took a hard hit down to the ground. He's back on his bike. It looks like he's ripped a part of his visor off, and he's going for round 2.
He's actually going to get back up and continue to ride. He took a good whiplash right there. Once he made contact with Daniel Mischler's, the inside of his back tire, he got whiplashed. He was leaning left and got slung to the right. Took a good shoulder bounce off the dirt.
You know, it's just so fun watching some of these athletes. King Cole and Mischler go line up against each other right now at the start line, and they're just handshakes, all smiles. It's so awesome to see what kind of environment this is and how different it is in comparison to all the other disciplines.
So they're exchanging pleasantries, is what you're saying. There's not a little trash talking after that one. Like, hey, dude, I felt you back there. Don't bump my tire on this restart.
Yeah, and the weird thing is now is King just got pushed back behind the entire pack. So I'm not sure if there was some kind of penalty there.
Well, that's what happens when you don't play nice. You're going to start making contact on the corners. You're going to the back row. You're going to the bad kids corner right there. So Cole's going to have to start all the way back on that last lane there.
Looks like he's still a little sore. You see him kind of rotating his shoulder right there. I'm sure the adrenaline's pumping, so he's ready to go, and he'll be a lot sore tomorrow.
As we get this thing lined back up, I was talking to Daniel Mischler, last year's winner in the tunnel, and he was saying he feels great. However, his bike was too fast. As you could tell, he didn't get the top qualifying spot. He was actually out of the top 10 for seeding today, and he was saying my bike is just way too fast for this course. He had to go there. Then he used an expression I've never used before. He said he had to add in a couple teeth, slow his bike down, give it more power out of the corners rather than into the corners. Lance, maybe you can tell us what that means.
Yeah, basically the track's so small that if you're overpowered, it's really easy to cut loose coming out of the corners, which will then ultimately slow you down. And it's a harder machine to kind of control. Anytime you have something with more power, it's a little bit more to control. And again, like I said, the track's so small that you don't need all that power. I mean, these guys probably aren't getting out of second gear for this track. So I'd rather have a bike that wasn't as aggressive and was easier to be tame on.
So you have to dumb it down a little bit, is what you're saying, basically, for these shorter tracks, and actually put a little more thought into what you're doing and how you do it.
Yep. Almost like slow and steady wins the race. That's why you see some of the older ages kind of winning these races. They have the patience. They're not as aggressive, and they're a little bit more cruising and controlled, which then kind of creates a faster lap time.
So Hunter Klee is going to sit this one out. He looked like he was visibly pained there when he got stacked up on that first turn. So he will sit this one out. You can see the carnage there. It's one of the downfalls of wearing white out there. Once you take a little tumble right there, you're going to need the old Tide stick to get that off the jersey right there.
Yeah, I'm sure most of these guys aren't even going to wash it. They'll hang it on the wall, be stoked that they rode X Games with it.
It'll be framed up in the garage as a badge of courage out here from Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. So here we go. We fire it back up. This is the re-rack of heat number 2 out of 6 here. Quarterfinal round here inside the U.S. Bank Stadium. Daniel Mischler out there on the front, inside start line. And here we go. Somebody's front end got up right there. Who was that? That was number 3B. That was Sean Chamley.
There we are, a clean start now.
Remember, the top 2 out of each heat moving on.
And they still have to do the full 10 laps. So there's a couple of guys out there that already did 2 or 3 before this.
I was going to say, a couple of those guys they've already got 3 laps deep, but started all over again. It's a clean slate. It's Mischler and Ludlow right now. You're 1-2. And Mischler's got a little bit of a gap going on right here. Ludlow's starting to pull away from the rest of the pack as well.
As you can see, who's moved up all the way from the back, King Cole, and he was really high in seating today. He's making some clean passes. Really working that outside line, guys.
Mischler's so far out ahead, they're not even really showing them on the screen right now. You're seeing the battle of 2, 3, and 4. Ludlow, Chemley, and King.
Six laps down, 4 laps to go. Is anybody going to be able to overtake Ben Ludlow right there? His brother Louis is also competing out here at Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing this afternoon.
I have a feeling 2, 3, and 4 are going to kind of hold themselves back because they're chasing each other, and it's going to let Michler in the position 1 kind of just pull away.
Oh, is he going to get him on the outside? Are we going to get a pass or no? Is Ludlow going to reclaim that lead, taking it on the outside, sliding out? Ludlow retains that number 2 spot for, oh, it's Michler and King. They're fighting it out with 1 lap to go.
Battling for the last transfer spot.
Cole King hanging on. Candy's slide into the lead, and he takes that spot, and Cole King starting all the way from the back after making contact with Daniel Michler when we started the race. Re-rack has to start from the back line. It comes in the very end with a battle against Ben Ludlow, and he's going to get that final transfer spot here in heat number 2 to earn a spot in the semis. That was some blue-collar work going on there those last 2 laps. Neither one of those guys wanted to give up the fight. How about that for a dramatic finish?
That was a good one. They raced the checkered flag right there for the last transfer spot for sure.
A little wonky there to get started. Front end coming up there for number 3. That was Sean Chambly, but it was Michler and Ludlow who got out to an early start here for the opening half of the race. But you see Cole King there making some moves, making some passes, and then here in the very end, look at him on the outside, and it sneaks right in front of him, coming around that last turn to take the checkered flag in that number 2 position. So he's done the work here, and he will earn himself a spot in the semifinals. So your 2018 Harley-Davidson Hooligan race winner earns himself a spot in the semis, as well as Cole King. So we are a third of the way through the equation out here this afternoon. Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing here, day 4 of 4, X Games Minneapolis 2019. Hats off to our course crew. These guys worked tirelessly all night. This looked vastly different Saturday night, Lance. We had all the jumps left out here for Moto X Best Whip last night. So once that wrapped up and Tyler Behrman got a gold medal, these guys had to groom all that dirt, flatten it out to make this 1/8 of a mile track for our race here today. Busch, Bronstadt, another Busch, Vestal, McDonald, Johnson, Newson, Schmidt. Here we go. Race number 3 underway.
Banging bars in the first lap. The Busch brothers, they're in here. This is a family affair, guys. We have many, many brothers and father-son combos today, and it's exciting to watch what they are doing.
Well, speaking of the Busch brothers, they are out in the number 1 and 2 position. That is Dave Busch out there in the lead, followed by Robert Busch. Both of those guys on Harley-Davidson's out here today. 3 laps down, 7 laps to go. Again, as we run through the quarterfinals, what you need to do here, you need to be one of the top 2 out of each heat to transfer on into the semis, Lance.
Are the Busch brothers going to do a little bit of shake and bake out there?
Are the Busch brothers going to become the Bash brothers?
We'll see.
Well, may see some contact there. Look out. You got Lowell Bronstadt right there, number 783. He's trying to come up. He's chasing Robert right now. Looking like he's going to try to make a move here. Looks like he wants to go on the inside line. Maybe not. What do you think, Lance? What's the strategy here with 4 laps to go?
Keep an eye on him, keep an eye on him, and when he makes a mistake, try to get your position, you know?
Catches up to him, but gets close in the corners there and just gets a little loose, swabbing out the back end there on the straightaways. 3 laps to go here in our 3rd of 6 quarterfinal races here. Look at the lead that Dave Busch has. He is way out in the front of the pack. Almost a little slip up right there by Robert. White flag is out. We are down to our final lap here. Are we going to get potential move by Lowell Bronstadt? And no.
The Busch brothers take it.
So the Bush brothers out to an early lead, and they hang on to that. So they will move on into the semis.
As they ride right past me, they have the same matching outfit and they share the same number. Just one has an X on the end. Keeping it in the family.
They're just trying to keep it confusing for us out here, trying to pay attention to who's who.
Exactly. Curious if they had a father with the same number.
Take another look at it right here. Look at that. As Diana said, trading some paint there to start it off. A little close contact to open it up. A little tire contact there, but after that first lap, they opened it wide up. And it was Dave, number 44, way out there in the front of the pack. And it got a little dicey there for Robert there, those last couple of laps there. Lowell Bronstadt was definitely trying to force his hand and push the issue, but just falls a little bit short. So the Bush brothers moving on as we are halfway through quarterfinals here. Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. Taking a look at our fourth heat here, we've got Brad Spencer, Ricky Renaro, Josh James, Frank Garcia, Andrew Tucker, Josh Slay, and Dan Lauders. All Harleys in this heat and one Ducati out here this afternoon. Brad Spencer, two-time Harley-Davidson Hooligan qualifier.
We have Frank and Frankie Garcia, the father-son duo out there.
Dan Lauders in this heat, his brother Louis, also competing out here today. So who's going to get the whole shot as the flag? And just like that, it is a yard sale to start this one off.
Red
Flags
flag
down everywhere, and the yellow comes out. They're going to red flag this one real quick. We're going to re-rack and start this one all over. That was Brad Spencer who got out to that early start.
4 of them down right off the bat. I think one of the Garcias was down. Father-son's kind of looking out for each other right now.
Brad Spencer doing what he does best. Gets out to that early lead and he just puts the hammer down.
That never feels good hitting the ground, I'll tell you that.
That's actually Dan Lauders right there. He got knocked to the outside. He was trying to get away from all the rest of the carnage there and got pushed to the outside. Ended up going over the Pacifico tough block right there. Getting looked at right now by X Games Medical as we take a look at the back end there. So right here, you got 3 guys all making contact. That's Josh James going inside.
Oh. Can you hear a vent in case they call for transport?
Oh, yeah. So Dan got run into. He got stacked into by somebody. He was just trying to go outside to play it safe, and he got stacked into by somebody else trying to avoid the carnage, and that knocked him over the tough blocks.
I was wondering how that worked radio.
Brad got out there to the early lead, was looking back over his shoulder like, hey, what's going on back there? He was already coming around. He could see those yellow flags coming out. So we'll re-rack and do this again. The question is Dan Lauders going to be able to continue, or is he going to hop in the cart there and take a ride with X Games Medical? And it looks like that will be the case. So we're going to be down a rider here.
Coming out, looks like shoulder, arm.
So you see a couple of the riders that went down out there back on the track. Catching a breath. I'm sure they're a little sore, and adrenaline's running, and they're gonna.
Everybody's sore except for Brad, because he avoided that entire yard sale.
Yeah.
Brad Spencer sporting the onboard cam, by the way. Oh, speak of the devil, there you go. That's what it looks like when you're the front line and you're taking the inside lane.
As we saw before that pileup, is he was already out in front dominating. And
he was looking over his shoulder.
Yeah,
he was looking back.
Looking over his shoulder. I caught up with him, and he was all smiles. He's feeling great. Nothing is ever wrong with him. Every event that we have covered him, he is just good to go. Everything is all set. And it clearly shows, guys.
Well, we'll see if he can establish that dominance once again here as we get everybody back into the start gate here again. Dan Lauders is going to be out. You saw him getting in the cart there. Hopefully he will be okay after getting pushed to the outside line right there, going over the tough blocks. But there we go. We're going to re-rack here. Taking a look at Brad Spencer on the onboard cam, taking out of that inside lane. See if he can get out to the early lead, and it appears that he is. So here we go. We're picking up where we left off on the restart. The yellow flag is out again. This is the adversity heat out here.
Another red flag. They're dropping like flies in this one.
So things are just getting dicey out here in heat number 4. That is Josh James now.
Hit so hard his handlebars broke. The real thing is the track is so tight, being only an 1/8 mile and it's only 30 feet wide, that when somebody goes down there, they're sprawled over the whole track, and there isn't much room for these riders to keep racing.
Well, yeah, between the bike and your body there, and these guys are coming up quick with 7 to 10 second lap times right there. Let's see if we can see what happened. Does he get contact made? He just gets slung to the right side there.
It seems to be almost a similar crash every single time. The rider ahead starts to make the corner, and the rider behind them hasn't set up for the corner yet, and they're high-siding off of the other guy's tire.
Josh married his fiancee Katie in April of this year. They actually delayed their honeymoon so Josh could get out here and compete at the X Games qualifier in order to earn the spot to be here in Minneapolis. Didn't race flat track until 2018. Grew up riding motocross. He's actually an owner-operator of his own earth-moving business in Australia. So you see the rest of the guys lining back up in the gate, and it looks like Josh is going to take a ride with X Games Medical as well. Let's see if we get you an update on him as well as Dan Lauders as we roll through this quarterfinal round out here today. He's smiling. That's a good sign. Well, congratulations, Josh, on getting married this year, and hopefully you guys will get to go on the honeymoon after X Games all wraps up here once you get cleared by X Games Medical. So we're going to do this a 3rd time. So this is heat number 4.3. For lack of a better term, can Brad Spencer do it again and get out to that early lead?
So now these guys will have ridden about 15 or so laps by the time they're done.
It's like they've done a quarter and a semi here now at the rate they're going. I don't know. After what we've seen out of Brad Spencer the last couple of years, I don't think it's going to bother that guy one bit.
The question is one of the Garcias going to make it in? Is one of the father-son duos going to make it in?
We will have to wait and see, and hopefully we get beyond the 3-lap mark here as we re-rack this all over again. Brad Spencer going to start off in that same spot, front lane, inside. 10-lap races here in the quarterfinals. If you're just joining us, top 2 move on. We'll have 12 riders in the semis. It's now Spencer, Renaro, the Garcias, Tucker, and Slade. And there you go. Brad doing what he's done the last 2 times we tried to run this heat.
The pack's thinned out a little bit. A couple riders are off the track, which is going to make it a little bit easier for them to race at a little bit higher speeds.
You've got a little more real estate to work with out there when you're down 2 riders right there.
For the third time, he's right into the lead. Guys, keep in mind that he is one of the oldest guys in our pack, if not the oldest. 57 years old. Ricky Renaro, who's right behind him, leading at 20
money right now because he's got Frankie Garcia chasing him right there.
Frankie and Frank, the father-son duo.
Well, someone's going to be disappointed in that family if one of them is able to make a pass because only 2 of them get to move on and Brad Spencer's out of that lead. So if one of those guys can make a pass right here and get past Ricky Renaro, the Garcia family will be pretty stoked. 6 laps to go here in quarterfinal number 4.
Guys, this is so great. Frankie Garcia's dad, just did a clean pass on him. The dad.
I was just noticing that, Danielle. It's pretty sweet. Let's see if he can make it stick onto.
He's got to get past Ricky here. He looked like he was trying to go on the outside line, getting a little wonky there, trying to take it on the inside lane with 4 laps to go. Can he get past Ricky Renaro here?
Oh, there he is. There he goes. Pushes him wide. Frank makes it stick.
Well, now Ricky's going to have a chance to try to counter back here. It's not over yet with 3 laps to go. It's Brad Spencer out in the lead still. But now this battle goes on for that second and final transfer spot. That is Frank Garcia on the Harley-Davidson. The white flag is out. We are on our final lap. We're finally going to get this quarterfinal race finished right here after 2 restarts.
2 of the oldest guys right there on the track right now are holding 1 and 2 spots.
How about that? Frank Garcia gets by Ricky Renaro in the second half. So it's Spencer and Frank Garcia moving on here with 2 more races to go here in the quarterfinal round. That one got a little dicey there, Lance. We had to re-rack that a couple of times.
Yep, and let's not forget, both of the riders that are walking away with transfer spots are in their 50s. And they had 20-year-olds behind them chasing them down, and they just calm, collective, and pulled it off.
Age is not a factor. Holding it down for the elder statesman out here today. Take another look right here. Check out some of the contact in the corners here. Look at that fight in the inside line there. He takes it past Ricky Renaro with 2.5 laps to go there. But that gentleman right there has been in control. They had to restart him twice, but each time he got out to that lead and held it. We are in for heat number 5 here. This is Bradley Spencer Jr. Tyler Berriman, your best whip gold medalist last night. Nick Leonetti, A.J. Kirkpatrick, Jason Rogers, Scott Jones, Justin Boyle, and one of the Guardano brothers, Sean's in this heat.
It's just such a wide selection of racers out there. Again, you have X Games gold medalist from last night, Tyler Berriman, and then you have Scott Jones, who is an engineer at a rocket ship company out there.
Wow. So taking a break from the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 to come out here to X Games. Put down some laps here at Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. It is Brad Spencer Jr. out to the lead here. And Tyler Berriman, your best whip gold medalist last night in that second transfer spot. Behind him, you've got Nick Leonetti and then A.J. Kirkpatrick.
Bradley Spencer Jr. just taking some pointers from his dad, clearly.
So with 3 laps to go here, it's still Spencer Jr. and Berriman. You're 1-2 with 1 more qualifying race left to go after this. Again, the big story, no last chance qualifier. If you don't get it done in one of your quarterfinal heats, you're not the top 2. You're watching from the sidelines as the white flag is out. We are down to our final lap here, Lance.
I was catching up with Tyler in the tunnel, and he was saying, this is my celebration day. I had a great time last night, and I'm here to have fun. And he makes it.
So we will see the Spencer father-son combo in our semifinals. And how about Tyler Berriman? Got himself a best whip gold medal last night. Now he's going to be in the semifinals here in Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. Let's not forget that his dad, Randy, also qualified as well. So we've got a couple of father-son combos here. You got the Spencers and the Berrimans that are set to do work. Hopefully those guys won't have to go against one another in the semifinal heats.
I hope not.
I assume that's going to be based off of how their seeding times were to see how they rack up in the semis. But I don't know. That could get real interesting right there. So we're down to one more race here in the quarters, Lance.
Another crowd favorite, Rusty Butcher, is out there. He's definitely won many flat track races, and then when he doesn't win, he goes out and does a pretty big show after to let people know that he's there.
What kind of show?
Yeah, wheelies, burnouts, ruckus.
All right, just showcasing some bike skills. He's a hooligan
stuff. Come on.
All right. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Jimmy Hill, Chris Boone, Nick Nefroni, Mark Atkins, Joseph Robinson, Stuart Armas, Alfonso Vasquez, and the other Guardado brother. This is Aaron rounding out the field here. That's number 88, Jimmy Hill. Out to the early lead, followed by Chris Boone.
Jimmy Hill, someone else who also is a kind of a motocross racer turned freestyle rider, and now going out here to have fun in the hooligan class.
So a bit of separation there.
We'll see if the Rusty Butcher can get into that second transfer spot. When I was talking to him, he said, I just don't feel good. I have had allergies all week long. I have a really bad cold, and he's struggling with some vertigo. So he is actually not doing well here this morning, but he's out here doing what he loves.
So 6 laps to go here. It's still Hill and Boone, your 1-2. These are the last 2 spots to move on into the semifinal round out here.
Jimmy Hill's just been keeping it slow and steady, kind of staying smooth and keeping it in the lead.
Well, at this point with the separation he's got, that's what you got to do. So barring any mental slip-ups, any miscalculations by him, he is going to seemingly ride out of this one in the top spot out of this last quarterfinal heat. And Chris Boone, the same for him, because he's got quite a bit of separation going on right now between him and Mark Atkins. So it's just the 1-2 moving on as we're down to our final 3 laps.
And I also want to clarify, when I say slow and steady, I don't mean that he's riding slow. I think in his mind, he's slowing things down. And when you slow things down in your mind, it's easy to be smooth. So that's what I mean by that. I wanted to clarify that.
Basically what you're seeing is take a deep breath, take a beat, don't overthink it, just relax, let the muscle memory do its thing, and there you go. It's Hill and Boone, your transfer spots there.
Rusty Butcher just shy of it. It's unfortunate. But you got to bring your A game to these races to make it to the final.
It's tough, you know, you get out here, it's a short track, it's one and done. Like I said, with no LCQ in the mix, you've got to get some work done early on. We saw some carnage here, a couple of these quarterfinal races. But, you know, these guys get out here early in the morning after the track's been groomed and rebuilt from best whip last night. You don't get a lot of practice time, so you really got to get in here, like you said, Lance, bring your A game and put the hammer down early on. So sit tight. We've got the semifinals coming up here. We'll be back with more Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing when we come back to X Games Minneapolis. That's right, Jack. It is truly a family affair out here, and we are set to kick off some amazing racing action out here today for our 4th and final day of X Games Minneapolis. This is Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jimmy Coleman, standing alongside Lance Corey right here in the booth. We've got Diana Dahlgren down there in the field. And, well, we had an amazing opening round of quarterfinals, and these guys, there were 48 of them to start. Only the top 2 out of each heat moved on. What are you liking looking into the semis here, Lance?
What I'm liking is that a couple father-sons made it in there. There was a lot of carnage in the first races, which I think was going to make people kind of calm down, settle in, and there's going to be some strong racing. Yeah,
you got Tyler and Randy Berryman with father-son combo making it in, but also the Spencer family, Brad and Brad Jr. Speaking of Brad Spencer, 57 years young, and this guy's won the qualifier to get into the X Games the last 2 years in a row and looking extremely dominant out here today, Lance.
It's going to be some great racing, and hopefully everyone can keep it on 2 wheels.
So what happens now as we get into the semifinals? It's 2 heats of 6. In the quarterfinal round, you were only one of the top 2 moved on into the semis. Now here in the semis, it's the top 3 out of each heat that'll move on into that final race. And Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing goes international.
So good to be out here and all the way from Australia, and everyone in the US as well as the Brazilian boys that are here. It's just been unreal.
When people were announcing that there were 3 Brazilians and guys from Australia, everybody claps. We could feel the energy.
Well, I think that's the whole backbone of Hooligan. Like turning up, riding with people you either know, don't know, doesn't matter. You high five, have a good time and go to work Monday.
My first time here, very glad to stay here with my friends to ride in X Games.
There's a small hooligan scene in Australia. It's starting up, and a lot of the boys follow each other on social media, and that's how the scene grows. It's good because everyone drives each other.
Like a few of my mates, they fly out and buy bikes as well, so yeah, the bikes aren't exactly the same as what we ride back home.
Oh, the scene in hooligans in Brazil is in the beginning right now, and the end is like we are for the same goal here. We just want to ride.
So showing you that hooligan racing is truly a global affair here inside the US Bank Stadium. We are set to kick off our first of 2 semifinal heats here in Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing, making its return here to the X Games. You've got Berryman, Mishler, Bush, Alves, King, and the other Bush, 44 and 44X. You've got the Bush family here and one half of the Berryman family in this semifinal heat. Top 3 moving on into the finals.
Uh-oh, you see number 44 saying, hey, wait a second, my bike's not running. There they go.
The flag. Who's getting out to that early start right there? It is a 10-lap race here in the semis, and the change from the quarterfinals into the semis here, it's the top 3 that'll advance into the finals.
Now remember, these are some of the faster racers of today. These are the top 2 of the last heats that are out there, so we're going to see a little bit more pushing, you would say.
You got Daniel Mishler sitting there in 2nd position, but that is Randy Berryman, Tyler's father. Tyler Berryman, we'll see in the other semifinal heat, getting a gold medal last night in Moto X Best Whip. So we have a bike down, so it looks like we are going to restart this race.
That's the 44 of Dave Bush, went down sadly. He was on a hot streak coming in from the back end of the riders, but fortunately went down.
See if we can get a look at it right here. Just what happens there, Lance? Just washes out a little bit on that outside line and just ends up taking a soil sample there.
I mean, it just looked like he was carrying that momentum, trying to get around the riders in front of him. Got on the gas and was just sliding a little too much.
Well, it's good to see him getting up and walking away under his own power here. That is a tough break right there. You can see him hobbling a little bit.
Again, I think the idea in these guys' minds is to win today, and you see a lot of these crashes in these corners. We've seen a lot of restarts so far, so one less rider out there to finish the race off. 5 of them are going to start now, and 3 of them are going to walk away into the next round.
Well, going back to the comment that you made earlier, you have to slow things down just a tad. Why? Because this track is shorter than what we've seen typically in years past at the X Games. It's only 1/8 of a mile out here. So we'll get this race underway here. Semi-final number 1 here. Top 3 moving on into the finals. It's Berriman, Mishler, Busch, Alves, and King. 10 laps. Top 3 moving on into the medal round.
Carrying that momentum, but again, like I said, kind of in your head, got to be slow and steady to win the race.
So Mishler trying to move on the inside line. They're trying to take Randy Berriman on the inside. And he gets the pass right there.
Notice Mishler was actually had his boot inside of that blue marker, inside of like the kind of track line. That's how close he was. Look at him right there. He's riding the inside of the line of the track.
So with the strategy here, trying to pass on the corners, which would you think would be the easier lane? Trying to take it inside or trying to pass on the outside, especially with some of the contact we've seen early on?
I think the easier would be to push the guy out and you take the inside. Ultimately, you have a shorter line around the course and you can actually ride it a little bit smoother.
So Daniel Mishler, number 77, your 2018 winner in this event, now sits in the number 1 position. However, top 3 will be moving on. Right now, you're 1, 2, 3, Mishler, Alves, King with 5 laps to go.
Guys, remember, Cole came in from the back of the pack after he went down in his heat, and now he's in the same position. Can he get into that final transfer spot? He has half a visor. His shoulder is very sore, caught up with him in the tunnel, but he said mentally, physically, I'm putting it all out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, you only need to be one of the top 3 to move on to the finals, and he's already hard charging right here. He's trying to get past Alves right there, trying to pass Tony.
There you go.
And he gets it. So even after taking a couple of crashes, and like you said, Diana, having half of a visor, he is being very, very aggressive out here today.
And I have to say something. Every single athlete out here in the last 4 days at X Games, doesn't matter if they're sore, if they're hurt, this is X Games. This is where they put it on the line, and this is exactly what you're seeing with the Hooligan races right now.
So last year's winner comes across the finish line first here in this heat. Daniel Mishler out of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Family actually owns a Harley-Davidson dealership up there in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. So he's been looking very, very strong out here today. So he's earned his spot in that final. So trying to make this a repeat, trying to win again here in 2019. So a washout right there by one of the Busch family there. We have to end up getting a re-rack on that race. However, it's last year's champ, Daniel Mishler, earning his spot. We've got one more semi to go.
X Games Minneapolis is brought to you by SoFi. Get your money right. And NextCare First Aid Products.
Well, taking a look at some time-lapse footage here inside the US Bank Stadium, things looked vastly different last night. We had the jump set up for Moto X Best Whip, and the course crew, I should say, working tirelessly over 10 hours to get all that dirt out of here and create this 1/8 of a mile flat track that we have here today for Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. And what a job by those guys, and it's amazing how tight of a turnaround that they had to create this track, Lance.
It really is. So a world-class field out there, and I think they've been doing it every night, switching it up from all the different freestyle events they had, the quarter pipe events, and now Harley-Davidson flat track.
Yeah, they've had a lot of moving parts to this equation. So again, hats off to the course crew and the amazing job they've done to create this track out here today. We've got the Spencers in this heat. It's Brad Spencer and Brad Spencer Jr., followed by Hill, Garcia, Behrman, and Boone. This is our second and final semifinal heat. 10 laps, and the top 3 will move on into the finals as we get set to drop the green flag, and we are underway. Brad Spencer out to that early lead yet again. The guy has just been methodical, Lance.
I'm rooting for him for a main event win.
Followed by his son there, number 73, Brad Spencer Jr. And right there in that last spot, you've got Boone holding on to that last transfer spot as of right now. Still a lot of racing left to go here.
Now it's tough when you're in the lead because you're kind of setting the mark for the pace. You don't know how fast they're coming up behind you, and you got to stay focused on what's forward and ride hard. It's a little bit easier sometimes when you're in second to watch the guy in front of you, watch their lines, pace their speed, and then find an area to kind of pass them.
Brad Spencer out of Gilroy, California, 57 years young and holding it down out here at the Harley-Davidson Hooligan race here, X Games Minneapolis 2019. He actually started racing in hooligan races 3 years ago when a friend invited him to a local race and let him practice on his bike. He says 2 weeks later I owned one. Not too bad for a retired carpenter at 57 years young.
Not too bad. Hey, motorcycles are addicting.
So with 3 laps to go, it's still the Spencer family out to the early lead, followed by Chris Boone rounding out that last transfer spot. But hold on, we've got a caution flag out as we have a rider down. And now the red flag is out. So they're going to have to re-rack and start this one all over again. That's going to be a tough one, too, because there was only 2 laps left to go in this race, Lance.
Let's not forget, these guys are out there riding street legal motorcycles, and they kind of take off the blinkers, take the lights off, make them race ready. But they're heavy bikes, and when you go down, I think you go down hard.
That is actually Chris Boone, who was sitting in a transfer spot right there. He was poised to get himself into the finals. And that is a tough break. The question is he going to be able to get up and carry on? As we take another look here, courtesy of our Pacifico Spider Cam on the overhead look here. He just makes a little bit of contact right there on the outside and gets washed out.
And like I said earlier, it's kind of easier to pass on the inside line and push the rider out. And that's what he was doing right there. But it just looked like
he just leaned in a little too much, and they were kind of rubbing elbows right there. That could have got a lot worse.
Yep.
So we are being told that they are going to call this a complete race, even though they were down to the final 2 laps. They're not. The red flag came out. They're not going to re-rack them. They're going to call that a complete race right there.
It's only fair because, I mean, if you were up there first or second, basically that whole race, and they only maybe made you race 2 more laps, then all of a sudden you got to the back of the pack.
Well, we will have to wait and see. It is going to be the Spencers, Brad and Brad Jr., and the 8X of Garcia moving on. So our final matchups are set. We have 6 riders in the field, and the next race that we see out of these gentlemen, we will be handing out some medals. We'll have the conclusion of Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing when we come back here to X Games Minneapolis 2019.
Hi, I'm Diana Dahlgren, X Games Motorsports reporter. I started riding at a very young age, came from a whole family of riders, absolutely loved it. Now as an adult, it's just really my escape from reality. It is always important for me to keep a clear mind so that I can tackle everything that I have going on. Life is very crazy right now. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a television personality and broadcaster. It's really nice when I get to make the time to go riding. It helps me relax, reset. I don't have to think about everything that's happening in the world. It's just a good time.
So how about that? Diana Dahlgren getting a little street ride right there. Did you get a chance to do that before we did this event today, Lance?
I didn't get to ride the live wire today, but I did get to ride from LA basically here.
All right, lucky you. So Diana, how was that whole experience? You look to be having the time of your life out there.
You know what? Livewire is such a cool e-Harley. There's no clutch, which makes it real interesting, especially if you're on the back roads. I mean, you're going to 0 to 60 real fast. So it's such a fun bike, and what a great feature from Harley-Davidson. Thank you, Harley-Davidson.
So did you get to keep the jacket? That's my final question. Did they let you keep the jacket, Diana?
Yes, I did, and the boots.
Oh, there you go. So she adds to the wardrobe out here. So Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing, we have the final coming up, but in the spirit of just good energy and having some fun out here and bringing up the youth movement here at the X Games, we got a brand new event that we're doing today. This is the Harley-Davidson Iron E Kids Electric Balance Bike Race. I know that's a mouthful right there, but trust me, we're going to have a good time with this one. We've got a group of kids out here today that are going to ride these e-bikes, and well, Lance, let's talk about this, break down this equipment that they're on out here as we get set to kick off this kids race.
It's virtually a balance bike with an electric motor on it. Gives these kids really a way to learn how to ride a motorcycle with peace of mind that they can put their feet down and not fall over, really.
So 8 of the 21 kids that are in this field are actually the children of X Games athletes, and here we go. We are underway. I've got a start list floating around here somewhere. Look at those things.
I'm not sure which one's which, but I can tell you that there are riders from the age of 3 to 9 years old out there.
And that's right, and the Iron E comes in 2 different sizes, because obviously we have the 3-year-olds and the 9-year-olds. We got the size 12 bike and the size 16 bike, a little bit smaller of a chassis, wheels on the 12 than on the 16. And you know what's so awesome that I noticed? Levi Laval is here. He's won X Games gold medals in Aspen X Games, so excited to see him here with his daughter Liv.
Yeah, she's out there in the race. Levi is also the world record distance jump holder on a snowmobile, so nice to have one of the Valley kids in the mix out here. Morgan Wade of BMX Big Air, who got a silver medal the other night. His son Connor out here in the mix as well. By the way, these bikes go about 11 miles an hour. Diana was saying they come in 12 and 16-inch varieties. They actually ship to the dealers this week. They'll be available as early as tomorrow, August 5th. That's Cooper Langdon. Those things look super fun.
I want one. I want like an adult-sized one.
Cooper doesn't want to stop right there. Someone needs to tell him that the race is over. Yeah, Jeremy Stenberg's got his kids in there, Savvy and Sailor Stenberg.
That's Savvy right there with the plaid flannel on. You can see her. She's a little bit on the bike, but she's still having fun.
Nobody wants to stop. They just want to keep going. I guess it's fitting that we did this race out here, considering we have this new youth movement going on here at the X Games this year. Let's check in with Diana, who's down there with some of our winners here in the Harley-Davidson Iron E Kids Electric Balance Bike Race.
I got a couple of these tykes here. The number 16, what's your name, young man?
Thomas Radwin.
And how was that race?
Good.
What are you going to do for next year's X Games?
Probably try and win.
He's going to win. What's your name?
Cooper.
Cooper, running the number 4 plate. And here we have Jeremy Stenberg's daughter. Tell the world, what's your name?
I'm Savvy.
Savvy Stenberg, and how was the race today?
It was amazing. It was just really fun.
And how do you love the Harley-Davidson Iron e-bike?
I love it.
She loves it. Guys, these kids are having a blast. Amazing family environment down here. We're going to let you guys take it away.
Well, there you go. That one is in the books, brand new to the X Games here, the Harley-Davidson Iron E Kids Electric Balance Bike Race. And again, those things ship to the dealers, and they will be available as early as tomorrow.
So I tell you what, I'm a little jealous that I'm up here and I'm not down there with my daughter, Luca.
Well, maybe you get a chance to go run the track once we're all said and done. Speaking of which, we still have one more order of business to take care of out here this weekend. We've got the final. It's the Harley-Davidson Hooligan Race Final. When we come back for the fourth and final day here, X Games Minneapolis 2019 inside the U.S. Bank Stadium. Welcome back to downtown Minneapolis. Fourth and final day here, X Games Minneapolis 2019. Here inside the U.S. Bank Stadium, we are set to kick off the finale here for Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. Hello everyone, Jimmy Coleman here in the booth alongside Lance Corey, Diana Dahlgren out there in the field, and we're down to our 6 final riders here in this last race. You've got the Spencer family, the father-son combo here that have been extremely dominant. That is Brad Spencer, the elder statesman of the two, and his son Bradley Spencer Jr. in this final, Lance, alongside last year's champion in this event, Daniel Mischler. Who else do you like on that start list?
Well, I like to see the Cole King out there. He crashed in his first heat. He got up, he had to start in the back, he ended up passing, making it in, getting second place. He really put in a lot of work to get here in this main event.
He is the youngest rider in the field. We've got quite a wide swath when it comes to the ages here. At 23 years young, that is him, sporting plate number 55. That is Brad Spencer, the elder statesman of the Spencer family. At 57 years young, he's won the qualifier to get in this event the last 2 years in a row. You've got Daniel Mischler. He is your defending champion from this event last year. That is your starting lineup right there, all on the front row right there. And we are about set to drop the hammer here and let these guys go. This is it, the final race here for Harley-Davidson Hooligan Racing. It's 15 laps. Who's going to get the title here in 2019?
They got to settle in and know this is the longest race of the day and put the power to the ground and be smart.
So off the first turn right there, the first lap, I should say, it's Mischler, Alves, and Spencer. That is Brad Spencer. That's the dad of the Spencer family right there here early on. Remember, lots of racing to go here. It was 10 laps in the qualies and semis, 15 laps here in the final.
Now Spencer knows what it takes to win. We've seen him win so many times, whether it's heats, the qualifiers. Can he put it down in a final?
Man, Mischler just taking off a few bike lengths in front of everyone who's battling for the second and third spot. Our oldest rider on the field, 60 years old, Alves. He's looking great, but he has some serious pressure on the back tire with Spencer and Cole.
Well, you talked about the oldest rider in the field. Let's talk about the youngest rider in the field right now, 23-year-old Cole King. He's pressing right now. He's currently sitting in 4th place. However, he's trying to make a pass right here. He's going to get it on the outside line, and he does, and he slides into 3rd here.
As you guys can tell, there's only 5 riders left on the course. Brad Spencer Jr. here sitting on the sidelines watching his dad.
Taking a look at the onboard cam right here of bib number 1, Brad Spencer right there, who has to settle for that number 4 position, but do not count this guy out with 7 laps to go. He's still hard charging right there. He has not let Cole King out of his sights.
Cole King looks like he's got the fury, and it's the same Eye of the Tiger we saw in his heat races.
Is he going to make a pass on the outside there and overtake Alves? This is going to be tight coming around the corner right there. Can he get past it?
Oh,
Alves.
Spencer pushing him wide. Oh! Spencer tried pushing him wide, but he just couldn't make it stick. Tire slid out, and he went down to the ground.
So you got the youngest guy in the field and the oldest guy in the field battling it out right there for that number 2 position. Cole King at 23 years young and Tony Alves at 60.
Now, if you really think about it, oh, did Cole King get him? Looks like the transponder reads he did.
This is what I love about Brad Spencer. He goes down like that, he hops right up on his bike, gets back on the course, and now he's going to go and try and pass Cole and Alves.
Well, now he's caught up to those 2 guys. As they've been duking it out for that number 2 position, he's knocking on the door here, trying to make a pass to get back into podium contention here with 2 laps to go. This one is going to come down to the wire, Lance.
White flag's already out. Looks like Mischler's going to hold on right now. We'll see if he can keep it for 1 more lap.
Yeah, he's just going to have to hang on, barring any slip-up, so he's going to make it 2 years in a row on the win. But who's going to get that number 2 and that number 3 finish here? Still Alves hanging on that spot. Can King get the pass? And no, it's going to end up being Alves and King rounded at the podium here. But how about that for an exciting finish right there? Those 2 guys were neck and neck for about half of this race for that number 2 spot.
What a race. They all were out there white-knuckled in such a quick 15 laps. Every corner counts, every straightaway counts, every little maneuver counts. The pressure was on for sure.
And how about Daniel Mischler getting out there to that early lead? He was your defending champ from last year. He got out to that early lead and managed to hang on to it right there. But, man, I got to give credit to Cole King. As you mentioned when we started the race, he took a good slap in his qualifying race, his opening quarterfinal race, got back up and managed to fight his way through all of this and ends up on the podium here. Taking a victory lap there. Getting a round of applause from the fans here inside the U.S. Bank Stadium.
Congratulations, your two-time gold medalist, back-to-back gold medalist. You did it.
Yes, ma'am, I sure did. I was not easy at all today. The boys are pushing me real hard today, and I can't give it up to Jason Rogers. Set me up good here in the main event. And Dynamic Realty out of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, Innovative Technologies, Michelin's Harley-Davidson, Pro Plates, Tucker Power Sports, Bell Helmets, many, many friends and family. Thank you.
Congratulations, Daniel Mischler, guys, two-time gold medalist.
Well, he's going to have another one to hang on the wall of his family's Harley-Davidson dealership up there in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. And if he keeps this up, they might have to build him a brand new trophy case up there in the shop there. Your thoughts on that final race there, Lance?
What a rad experience. They definitely, I mean, he got out there pretty quickly and he stuck it in first the whole time, really.
He was out there to an early lead and just pinned it through 15 laps and is able to hang on and make it 2 gold medals in a row. Congratulations to Tony Alves in second place. And it's Cole King walking out of here with the 3rd place finish today. Taking a look at some highlights here. Lots of carnage on track here today, Lance.
Oh, there was tons of carnage out there. There was carnage all day out there. It seemed like every race had a red flag, which really meant a lot to make it to the final.
Well, that is a wrap for motorsports out here. What a great day at the X Games so far, but so much more to come, including Wendy's Men's Skateboard Park and Women's Skateboard Street. But first, we'll check out how things went down in the Pacifico BMX Vert Final after this message and a word from our ABC stations.